Cheaters Corner, where you will be caught and we will talk about you. My name is Cole, and joined with me is my marvelous co-host, Jack. How are you doing today, Jack?
What's up? We're just another goblin, just another day. We went 2-2 today, playing standard, and now we get to talk about one of the worst cheats that I've ever seen. This is like old school 90s level bad.
Yeah. So, and this is Goblin Ringleader. I'm sorry I didn't introduce him as well, but
Hi.
we have been over this content a few times before. This is just a reminder and some reiteration of the, you know, don't do this stuff. Otherwise, we'll catch you. And I think to start, let's just look at some behavioral patterns, eh? This is a very nice Google Doc that Sean created, right?
No, Lava Ox did this breakdown.
Lava Ox did this breakdown.
Sean wrote his article about what he felt happened. His opponent got DQ'd in the top 8 of the Energy 10K in Madison, Wisconsin. Shout out to Energy for hosting an amazing event and for just being awesome overall. They responded to this with a ban for the cheater, and he's not going to be participating in any more Energy events. But Sean, Mr. Toolshed Gallagher, longtime grinder, a champion of the Energy, actually, he's won one of the showdowns before, was doing an entire write up about what he felt happened, why his opponent got DQ'd. Super high level. His opponent had inconsistencies in his deck list that he submitted versus what people recalled him playing in games. And so there was this assumption that his opponent was swapping cards in and out of his deck between rounds, which is something that people do, and it's not legal. It is cheating, but people do it to try to make their matchups slightly better in between rounds. If your opponent's playing a bunch of Field of Ruins, like Sean was, you add more basics to your deck, which takes us to Sean's first point. If you go back a little bit, like close this thing out, press the X. Sorry.
Mhm,
Down here,
mhm.
during his top 8 match, his opponent has one planes in his deck list, and it's open deck list because they're top 8. They know what each other are playing. Meanwhile, his opponent has two planes in play. How'd that happen?
And
Did
it's
that
his
just like
sleeves, like, he didn't
did
ta
that just magically get there? And look at how red his face is compared to his neck. If you look at how red his face is compared to his neck, he's very much aware that the cameras are on him and that he has two planes in play and he should only have one. So Sean did a whole write up about how he thinks maybe he was swapping cards in and out. Lava Ox took it a step further and broke down the coverage. Did an amazing, yeah. So this is shout out to Fire Shoes. This is what we were talking about, right? Uh, People were attesting that he had different cards for different matchups, and he
Yeah,
also doesn't have a Restless Povak in the list at all.
right. Yeah.
So if you go to back to shout out to Sean for that. Lava Ox broke the whole thing down and did an amazing whole Google Doc that he posted, and
And we don't need to go over
you can
all
read.
of the words,
I
yeah.
was gonna say you can read all of this if you want. It'll be linked in the description down below. But super high level. Basically, during the tournament, Connor, he who shall not be named, uh, was on camera a lot, and he played very open. If you look at it, the way he had his hand, the way he was talking, and like just behaving with his opponent, very open, very fluid, very like jovial, right? Sometimes he's smiling and making jokes, laughing. Uh, Lots of expression of like showing your cards to the camera, just open, usually like good sportsmanship overall, right? Nothing that you would find concerning if you were watching him.
You're just
And
kinda
then we
flipping
enter
your
the top.
cards, you know?
Yeah, and then enter the top 8. The whole demeanor of his body language, the way that he carries his cards and holds things
And it's also
changes. He
important
doesn't
to see, like, let's see exactly how far away his
how
body
open.
is from the table. Like, he's kinda leaning back here. His cards are clearly visible to the camera. Basically, in all of these shots, his cards are very clearly visible to the overhead cam, right?
Like,
Now
you can read the entire card. Now you go to top 8, and there's a very visible change in demeanor.
He is
very visible
so
and
close to
weight.
the table, right?
His
Like,
hands might as well be off the table.
yeah. Like, he's had to push his cards up is a thing that I've noted to, like, accommodate his elbows and the fact that he's constantly, like, putting his whole body up against the table to kind of conceal any potential tomfoolery down there, which we know now the reason why he did that is because he had fucking cards on his lap, like
Which is insane.
on his lap with a camera on top. Anyway, let's keep going. So this is just like, this is one little instance of it.
And then
Let's see.
we're going super slow because we want to see what kind of this is an example first off of an obvious cheat. There's there is a card that is drawn for the turn. It has white on one side and red on the other. It looks very much so like a battlefield forge. If you go up to some of the reference points, he had a battlefield forge in play, and the art is very obvious. Do you see do you or no, sorry, it's in the Google Doc. The battlefield forge is in his deck,
Okay.
but he swaps it out. So what he does is that's a battlefield forge he's drawn, and he's flicking it around. If we keep going down,
Oh, I see.
it's a battlefield forge and something else. He looks like he's going to play the battlefield forge, but he decides not to.
And
He
he
puts
plays
it
what?
back in
He
his
plays a
hand.
mountain? Oh, I see. Okay.
He doesn't play anything. So if you go down, he's flicking the cards.
Yeah,
He's flicking the
another
cards.
good picture of Battlefield Forge here.
So if we
Yeah.
go down, yeah, exactly. It's Battlefield Forge in his hand. If we go down, watch his hands. Watch his hands. Like he's like putting stuff under his armpit. He's moving all over the place. He draws for the turn. It's a slick shot show off. That is very
It
obviously a slick shot and flashes a Boros charm.
yeah.
And the third card, what's that third card in the back?
It looks
Scroll down a little bit.
like a Battlefield Forge.
It's not a Battlefield Forge. Look at that hand get flipped again. So that's a slick shot show off. That's a Boros charm. And is that an Urbrask's Forge? He has a different card in his hand besides the one that he drew in that previous turn.
Okay, yeah, I'm not familiar with Urbask's Forge art, so
It's an yeah, right there.
oh,
It's that
yeah.
one.
There you go. Yeah, so at some
If you
point,
Google
the card was swapped.
yeah, so it's very plainly Urbrask's Forge right there. And then
Yeah.
if you scroll down, so right after he casts the Boros charm, it's very obvious in his hand. So where did it go? Well, if we go back, did you see it right there in that frame? In that frame, he just sneaks it, literally just sneaks it under the
Oh, he
table and then
looks
wipes
at the
his nose.
camera too.
Looks at the judge next to him. He looks at his opponent, and then he looks at the camera dead in the eyes, and then he does it. So watch his
Oh,
hand.
man.
Oh, did you see it?
So
Did you
he
see it
so
go
he
under the
had it
table?
looks like he, at some point, put the card into his hand right there at the beginning, had 3 cards in hand, realized that he can't be flicking his cards at
Instead of
all.
two,
Yeah,
because he'll realize that I have.
and so at some
He's like, oh,
point,
how do I get this out of my hand? How do I get this out of my hand? How do I
yeah,
get this out of my hand?
he's just trying to figure it
Well,
out,
I'm going to.
and then he just does
And
it.
then if you scroll down, it slows down where you can see a flash of turquoise as it goes under the table. As he flips right here, you watch literally turquoise glow
Right.
as his hand goes under the table because he's
Yeah.
playing bright green sleeves.
Pretty undeniable.
And it's
Like,
just insane to watch somebody like try to like literally palm cards at the highest level. And then at this point, you see the card on his lap. Look at the bottom middle of the screen. It's literally
insanity.
as soon as his arm moves, you see that it's just sitting on his lap. And to
Because
be
he's got no moves. Like, what's the game plan?
to be sitting at the top 8 table, right? Where people dream of getting after years of hard work, right? And to be sitting next to the judge who's an awesome person, right? And across from somebody who's actually earned to be there. Sean is an amazing tournament grinder. He goes
Yeah.
to every tournament. He
Yeah.
goes to like every champs.
All the people who
Like to
show
be doing this,
integrity.
yeah. To be using first off to have a counterspell shirt on, right? Is just so and then
You're
be
confirming
cheating
the
blatantly is just
bias.
it's just making it worse. Come
Dirty
on.
blue
Like
players, like the Squirtle
and
hat,
then yeah.
like,
One like how dumb can first
no,
off, something that shout out to Nikachu. Nikachu pointed this out. if you're gonna cheat, why would you be using turquoise sleeves? Like
Yeah.
the the answer is you didn't think about it because you're a
No.
dirty cheater. You're a dirty cheater and you're just gonna cheat wherever you are. He looked dead at the camera. He was like, huh? And then he did it. So
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
it's
Um,
absolutely insane. It's a disgrace to the game to have somebody think that they can achieve this or do this and achieve results. I'm glad that he was found out. The NRG series banned him. Wizards doesn't have any part with judges anymore. They don't have any connection to them. So there's no way to ban somebody officially from sanctioned play. So it's just up to individual tournament organizers to take care of this kind of stuff.
that's
Somebody can get
fun.
banned and then just go event to event and keep cheating. Because Wizards got like stopped interacting with the judges, there is no way to permanently ban somebody from Magic anymore, and that's a problem because stuff like this is happening at the high level of play, and we see it more and more blatantly, very obviously shown here.
Mm.
If somebody feels like they can take a deck like Boros Mice, which is already a good deck, and just cheat with it
Yeah.
to get to the top eight, because they know that even if they get caught here on camera after looking at the camera, if they know if they get caught here, they can just go to a different tournament organizer like Star City Games and play there and do the same thing and probably top eight there too. It's insane. So I like one of the things that I've seen a lot of people call for is Wizards needs to get behind judges again. Wizards needs to support organized play because if you just leave it up to organizers, stuff like this can happen, and we all need to rally behind the fact that cheating is not okay, and we don't want this anywhere near our game. We don't. This isn't a part of Magic.
No.
Go play poker. Go do something else. I don't know
No.
what you do. Just don't play Magic.
If you're interested in sleight of hand, there is a very specific part of, like, go
Magic.
yeah, go
It's
do
just not this
hand
Magic.
magic. Yeah, exactly.
It's just
So,
not Magic the Gathering.
yeah, it's sad to see at the end of the day, you, like, play a game that's for teens, and it's just really sad to, like, everybody in theory, is going to do this game that they love, and for me, that's, like, the most tragic part of it is, like, this person very clearly has lost touch with what makes them love the game, and instead they're thinking about it from the angle of, "How can I exploit this game?" Especially in the spot that we're at now, fantastic point, the judges not being a part of, like, competitive play anymore and, TOs just needing to have judges on hand, otherwise you have to, like, try and get people from out of state, and it is just an absolute nightmare, and so, if we're not able to keep people accountable and make them feel like they're going to be held accountable, then this is the type of thing that'll happen. The only reason why we caught this person is because they were on camera, and someone went back and, like, could they have been deck checked? They did get deck checked. Um,
They were disqualified because of a deck check, not because of this. This was found out 3 days later.
yeah, and they were like, Sean was a victim of his cheating before he got deck checked in top 8 and lost, is my understanding. So it's like he wasn't
Yeah, he
saved. Um,
Yeah. So he was presented lethal. The judges said pause. Twitch chat had told the judges, "There's a second planes. There's a second planes. There's a second planes," and they knew the death lists because they were published after they would cut to top eight.
mm,
They were all commentating it. The judges stopped it so they could investigate why is there a second planes in play. You're not supposed to have a second planes. The judges told Sean to hold it, but there was a miscommunication. Sean didn't hear them. Sean then asked, "Did like what's going on?" They didn't respond. And then Sean's like, well, they didn't respond. There's lethal on board. He's at three. There's a Boros Charm and a Slick Shot with Prowess Trigger.
yeah,
And he's like, I'm dead.
yeah.
Good game.
Like in
And
normal
his opponent,
0 normal situations where he's alive in that. So,
yeah, yeah. And in his mind, he's like, the judge just said something like minor. It's not like they're giving me the match, right? They're not like just gonna like hand me the match. And so because of that, he scoops it up and he goes with his friends who are waiting for him to dinner. And after dinner, he gets back and he's like, wait, my opponent was, he sees it on Twitter. He doesn't even know. And he's like, my opponent was DQ'd. And so what happened was Um, he conceded to his opponent. His opponent advanced to the semifinals. Was then DQ'd in the semifinals after the deck check because they looked at his deck box. His deck list was right, but he had two planes in play during the game. So they were like, "What happened?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't know." And they were like, "What do you mean you don't know? You had two in play, and now it's not in the deck box. Did you take it out of the deck box?" And his answer was not satisfactory, so they disqualified him. They would have given Sean the semifinals game, but because he conceded, the guy got a bye to the finals because his opponent wasn't there and Sean had conceded to him.
Yeah.
So he just didn't have an opponent to play against. And none of that prize support got moved down, which is tough because Sean did technically concede to him before the disqualification.
Yeah.
So Sean accepted that. He responded that. He took that with grace and honor. And it
Yeah.
was a really tough situation for all the people who got cheated by him.
Mhm.
But this is a great like learning opportunity for like all of us. Like, what do we do when we interact with a cheater, right? Like, what happens in these kinds of situations, right? And going forward, I hope that like tournament, if like someone's caught for cheating, right, get that prize payout like staggered, like it would usually, right? Take that
Mhm.
person out, give it back down because they're not going to get the prize payout, but you should still pay out that extra,
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, and I think Energy they did do a good Twitter thread on banning this person and having them not be welcome back at future energies. And they made a decent point about how like tournament integrity to kind of uphold that it doesn't make as much sense to retrospectively change everything when
I
it's
agree.
there's
Yeah.
just a lot of the moving variables, and so it is an unfortunate situation. I think ultimately shout out to Sean for being a very upstanding person. It just like gives them a million aura, and I hope that they have like nothing but amazing vibes and people are taking good care of Sean. Um, and yes, there is no room for this in our game in our community. Like for real, just we're all just trying to enjoy the game. Competitive Magic does not work if people are not respecting the basic fundamentals of the game, RNG being one of them. You don't have lands and die, tough. You have all spells and die, tough. This is how it works. This is the game you signed
It
up
was
for.
funny. It was funny. I commented on somebody's post on Twitter, and I think this describes this moment perfectly. The person hadn't taken enough losses to lose with grace. Like you need there's a principle in Magic where you play against like people who are better than you and you lose over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah,
And eventually you hit your head against the wall so many times that your head becomes steel and you break the wall. And that's kind of like how you have to play competitive Magic. You need to try and try and try and learn and fail in order to get better over time. And I feel like cheating is like expecting a shortcut, saying I deserve to win and you don't deserve to win, regardless of who's put more time in, right? Because if it came down to time, Braun would win that match 1,000%.
for sure.
Uh,
Yeah, LSV
he's the one who's
would
put the
sit down
work
and
in.
win 100% of his games, and I'm really glad that that's not the way that it works because I live in the same state as LSV, and I don't wanna show up to an RCQ with him and get my shit stomped by him. I There's something
Yeah,
very enchanting about the fact that, like, you could sit down in a sealed tournament and you could do potentially better than someone who's been on the pro tour. Like that's what makes
yeah.
this game, in my opinion, better than chess because it's not just like my mental fortitude is going to plow through you.
Murder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like time and a place, but yeah, the RNG is what makes the game fun and really asking
To fuck with
yourself,
that
checking in every once in a
ruins
while.
everything.
Yeah, like checking in every once in a while and being like, "Hey, am I having fun while I'm playing this game?" A lot of people kind of obsess over Magic or it becomes like a one-stop hobby. So if you're not getting that variety of life and you're not doing the other things that make you happy, you could kind of fall into this vicious cycle of looking for happiness in Magic, not seeing it, and then getting frustrated and not having anything to turn to. So be honest with yourself. If you're not enjoying playing Magic, that's fine. Take a break. It will always be there for you. That's what's awesome about hobbies. Go do something that you like. The community is great. Everyone will be waiting for you when you get back. Like, but if you're not having fun, that's on you to go solve that problem, you know? So,
And if you play, this is the last thing I'm going to say about this. If you look at the game as something that's meant to win, and the only way that you enjoy the game is by winning, then you're only going to enjoy the games that you win. Whereas if you just figure out what you love to do in Magic, what is it that makes you smile? What crazy, silly, not that great, but fun thing do you do that makes you enjoy the game the most? Do that thing. Because even if you win or lose, you're still going to be enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy 100% of the games that you play if you're doing something crazy, but it makes you happy. Whereas if you're just playing the best thing, you'll only enjoy at most 50% of the games, right? You could enjoy 0% of the games because you could
Yeah.
never win. So
Yeah.
save yourself some time, invest in your own enjoyment, figure out what you love to do, and do what you love in Magic because honestly, that's where you have the most fun. And that's where you show somebody who maybe feels like this guy, and maybe he feels like the only way that I can feel good is by winning the whole tournament. Maybe you show him a better way to play Magic. You
Mm.
show him, look, actually, bro, it's not about winning. It's about enjoying life. It's about having fun. Yeah, we did a short with Tommy today.
I saw it.
It was a 5 second short about
That's
Master
great.
of Waves.
Let's give it a let's do a little sneak peek.
Tommy, do you remember playing with Master of Waves back in the day?
You mean Waster of Maves?
Whoa! Wow. Tommy, do you
I
remember playing with Master of Waves?
had a lot of fun watching that. Shout out to Tommy. Haven't heard or seen your voice in a while, so hopefully you're doing well. Did you see him
Tommy,
at the Energy?
no, I saw him tonight at the shop. I did that tonight.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
Maybe like two
They're just
hours ago.
rowdy in that bitch. Nice.
Yeah, and he wants to do a episode where he compares Magic to Lorcana. So if anybody wants to watch some Lorcana content, Tommy is an old school Magic grinder who I'm glad is not at the LGS anymore because
He's
I'm
very
now on
good.
the now on the leaderboard because he left. I can never beat Tommy.
Jack's on the leaderboard with goblins. Tommy out here playing tier 1 strategies, and he's also very good at the game. So, we out here though.
But he's a Lorcana grinder now, and maybe in the future we have him on. But yeah, for now, it's been a really nice episode. You know, this is the Cheaters Corner. Sometimes people make mistakes, and then sometimes people choose purposefully to fuck with somebody else's game, and that's when you find yourself in the Cheaters Corner. If you don't want to end up here, don't fucking cheat. Play the game. It's really easy. The last thing I have to say to this person is get good, scrub. Just like play your fucking cards and get good, scrub. Don't cheat.
Yeah,
Just get better at the game. You'll win some games. Just invest time.
for sure. Cool. I think that about does it. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody have a wonderful rest of their evening. This has been the Cheaters Corner. Until next time. Peace. Oh fuck, I did it again.